I rise briefly to speak in favor of this amendment, and I come at this after a lifetime of having worked in various ways to advance human rights and equality, and I know very well that the advancements we make are not always solid, that they are fragile. All it takes is a change of government to wipe out advances. So to me, the most important thing is building a broad societal consensus about combating hate. I want to thank the Minister of Justice for introducing this bill. It's a long time coming. It was badly needed. I want to thank my colleague, my seatmate, Senator Chris Wells, for being the sponsor. I want to thank Senator Paulette Sr. and all the members of the Human Rights Committee for their role. I want to indicate my strong support for this bill. It is badly needed, and it's a long time coming, but I want to speak to one part of it. The bill deletes Section 319 of the Criminal Code, and this has caused considerable controversy. So let me just paint for you the steps that happened. The House of Commons Committee went through the hearings at the very last minute. In order for it to pass, the government was prepared to accept an amendment by an opposition party to add this clause that would delete Section 319, the good faith clause. Seeing the controversy that it generated, they then added a clarification to say, well, that clause, it doesn't really mean anything, don't worry about it. But at this point, a whole lot of people are very upset about that clause. So I asked the question, why have a clause, then have a clarification to say, oh, don't worry about it, it's not a problem. Why don't we just get rid of the clause to begin with that's causing the consternation? I want to say quite clearly, I'm less influenced by some of the political initiatives or machinations that have gone on about this bill. I am really concerned about the views of ordinary Canadians that we've heard. In the report from the committee and the observations, they note that they heard from people who were concerned about this defense being removed. They then talked about the legal experts who said, don't worry about it. So really, with the greatest of respect to the committee and to the government, they are saying, we've heard from thousands and thousands of Canadians who are concerned about this clause. So ordinary Canadians, we've heard from you. We hear that you're concerned about it. But listen to these experts. They're saying your worries are unfounded. I don't think that's a good way of doing politics. When we hear from the people and we tell the ordinary people, you don't really understand it. What the report says, it calls on the government to engage in clear communication or clear engagement on this matter, to continue explaining this matter to the population. So basically it's saying the experts understand it, thousands of ordinary people don't understand it, so experts and government keep explaining this thing to ordinary Canadians who've written to us in the thousands, and at some point they'll gain our level of intelligence and expertise and they'll come on board. Sorry if I'm being a little dramatic, but for a lot of people, that's the way it comes off, and I caution you against this. My guiding objective here is to build a consensus about the scourge of hate crimes. We need to strongly oppose the bad actors, the purveyors of hate. That is who we should be all working against. There is a large number of people of goodwill who agree with that objective, that there is something rotten about hate crimes and hate harassment that we have to confront and we have to oppose. But instead, people of goodwill have been divided into two. People are prepared to support this, and people who have concern that their religious rights are being undermined. So who's laughing? The purveyors of hate, because they're happy to see that people of goodwill are divided by this. I want to say to colleagues, let's put a little bit of wine in our water. Water in the wine. But for those of you who don't drink, then a little wine in the water. I ask you to compromise a bit and to understand that what's more important than getting this through the House of Commons with a narrow vote is to build a consensus about the need for us, as broadly as possible, to unite against the scourge of hatred that is growing in this country and many other countries. We must and we can have a bill that has broad consensus to combat hate. Thank you.
Senator McBean, you have a question?
Yes, I do.
And Senator McFedrin also?
On debate.
Well, okay, I'll put you on the list for debate. Senator Cardozo, will you take a question?
Sure.
Senator Cardozo, I would have appreciated asking Senator Martin this question, but I'm wondering if you can explain to me why in the amendment and the purpose in the amendment of removing the lines if they do not willfully promote hatred against an identifiable group by communicating the statement. Because as the amendment says, it finishes, it's replacing lines 25 to 27, so it's removing this text. And I'm wondering if that doesn't leave doors open, and it seems like I'm wondering what the purpose behind that was.
Senator Cardozo.
If there was a way to rewind the clock, I would prefer you ask that question to the mover of the motion. Yeah. But I would say, and I should tell you, my preference would have been Senator Martin's original motion to the committee a few days ago, which was just to get rid of the whole damn clause which is causing this problem. I think what Senator Martin has done here is to, sorry, Madam Speaker, if that was unparliamentary, I apologize for that. But I think what Senator Martin has done here is to set aside the objective of getting rid of the whole clause and to indicate that the good faith clause still stands. That's the best understanding I have.
Senator Martin, you have a question?
Cardozo, will you take another question?
I'd be willing to. Go ahead.
Okay.
Senator Martin.
Would you agree that the reason why the current wording of the greater certainty clause is circular is because when they say that they define what is not hatred speech by simply repeating the same standard. So it says communications don't amount to willful promotion of hatred if they don't willfully promote hatred. So this doesn't give a practical guidance to citizens or police or prosecutors about where the line actually lies. So my amendment is responding to just the circular wording in the greater certainty clause that actually has created some greater certainty as well. So would you agree?
Senator Cardozo?
The question is, would I agree, Senator Martin? And I absolutely, totally agree.